Doofus Jerry is probably the most popular character from the Rick and Morty series. As a matter of fact, he has been the topic of the very first video on this channel. This version of Jerry is arguably the strongest, and his story was very intriguing, which made a lot of people take an interest in him. I think the writers of Rick and Morty have noticed the hype around this character, and maybe they are hinting at his debut in the series. So this is the topic of today's video. Our story begins in Rick and Morty issue 21, which was released on December 28, 2016. Morty Smith enters the house with a black eye gained after he walked into a door from watching Jessica bend over. When Jerry tries to claim that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, everyone doubts that Jerry has ever been in a fight. Embarrassed, Jerry storms off before he notices the portal gun. He decided to use that portal gun to meet his only Rick friend, Doofus Rick. In Dimension J19ζ7, Doofus Rick is having a tea party before Jerry arrives, needing a friend. Thrilled to see his friend, Doofus Rick puts Eric Stoltz's masked Morty in charge of the tea party before the two head out to an amusement park. As the two enjoy the park, the security service notices Jerry and Rick, alerting their boss, ordering that both be brought to him. When the two arrive, the boss reveals himself to be Doofus Jerry. Shocked that he has a counterpart on this Earth, Jerry accidentally reveals the existence of the multiverse. Intrigued, Doofus Jerry reveals that he is the most successful man on Earth, the literal dictionary definition of it, and offers to swap places with Jerry. Though tempted, Jerry ultimately denies, only to be knocked out. Held at gunpoint, Doofus Rick is forced to surrender the portal gun. Emerging in Dimension C131, Doofus Jerry is instantly smitten by Beth, his charm quickly winning her over, even developing an attraction to Summer. As he salivates over his next conquest, he is confronted by Morty, who instantly sees through the imposter. After trying to have Doofus Jerry leave peacefully only to be threatened with death, Morty goes to Rick. Confronting Doofus Jerry on the patio, Rick tries diplomacy only to be scoffed at, calling Rick an old drunk. Though furious, Rick is eager to fight a Jerry only to be beaten down before he can even get a shot in. After decades of traversing the multiverse, Rick has finally met his better in Doofus Jerry. When Morty comes into his room in a panic, Rick reveals that he's tried everything up to and including throwing a cat at Doofus Jerry. At wit's end, Rick has decided to just detonate a neutrino bomb and be done with it. As the two argue over the bomb, Doofus Jerry shows up and reveals that he's disarmed it. After taunting the two about Beth's butthole, even if Morty takes a while to get it, Doofus Jerry beats them up again. Picking themselves up, Morty asks why Doofus Jerry doesn't just throw them out, only for Rick to reveal that they're not even worth that effort. Content that Summer is safe in a small protection dimension, Rick explains to Morty that he and Jerry exist on a spectrum as the predators and prey, respectively. Normally, Ricks always win, but this Jerry is an anomaly. At this, Morty suggests simply calling in more Ricks. Back in Dimension J19ζ7, Jerry regains consciousness only to be told by Doofus Rick of what happened. Deprived of his portal gun, Doofus Rick can't follow Doofus Jerry, but he can whip up a workaround, telling Jerry to come back in what feels like a month but will actually be less. In the Dimension C131, Rick has grown desperate enough to call in reinforcements from the Citadel, the soldiers quickly placing Doofus Jerry under arrest. When Beth protests, Rick makes her understand that that's not her husband, only for her to reveal that, to the shock of Rick and Morty, she never laid with the intruder, having been at the hospital all night. In the Citadel, the Ricks discover Doofus Jerry's origin, much to Rick's shock. After Jerry notices the Citadel's advanced technology, he makes for the genetic restructurer. Horrified, Rick realizes that the Doofus dimension isn't the weakest, it's the opposite side of the spectrum. It's a world where the Jerrys are the predators and the Ricks are the prey. Stepping out, Doofus Jerry gives off a purple smoke as the Ricks convulse. Inspired by a plague that once struck his reality, Doofus Jerry has restructured his genes to be a poison to Rick. As Summer brings Rick and Morty inside her pocket dimension, Doofus Jerry takes full control of the Citadel and the Council. Having totally taken over the Citadel, Doofus Jerry prepares for the final phase of his conquest, ordering a search for the original Rick and Beth. In the Dimension C131, Rick, protected by the stimulated pain of a trio of Mortys, completes work on a giant robot, as all universe-threatening problems can be defeated through the usage of a giant robot. Back in Dimension J19ζ7, Doofus Rick has managed to create portal fluid. After telling Jerry that it's not to be drunk but doused, the two traverse realities until they arrive in Rick's mecha. After Beck blames Jerry for everything, the mecha flies off. While the mecha Rick is initially a sign of hope for the trapped Ricks and Mortys, Doofus Jerry reveals his own, even larger mecha that beheads Mecha Rick, its head crashing in the council chamber. After Beth rejects Doofus Jerry, he tries to kill them only to be futilely delayed by Jerry, whom he punches in the gut, causing Jerry to vomit up the portal fluid. The fluid fluid forms a portal that brings forth a giant worm that devours the would-be tyrant. After Rick atomizes the worm, he tells the council that they can lick his balls as a way of repaying their debt. As we can see, unlike most of his counterparts, Doofus Jerry was cruel, sadistic, ruthless, selfish, greedy, violent, and psychopathic. He conquered his Earth and became the richest and most successful man there, but with no sympathy or regard towards others. He is a power-hungry man who is unable to accept rejection, beating his version of Jerry up when he refused his offer to trade lives. Once he heard of multiple dimensions, he jumped at the idea of conquering the entire multiverse. He doesn't seem to have fallen in love prior to meeting Beth, seeing as there was no woman named Beth Sanchez who was born in his own dimension. He's also really good at fighting, beating Rick and Morty with ease and even taking down a hired thug in a back alley. He also possesses a vast knowledge of weapons and technology, recognizing all the weapons and gear he saw at the Citadel of Rick's during his trial. He's also very resourceful, quickly entering the genetic restructurer to make himself poisonous to Rick's, thereby defeating all of them. If you paid attention to the new opening of the 7th season, at the end of it we can see an unusually buffed Jerry. His training makes me think that he didn't get that form unnaturally and actually worked to be in that shape. This Jerry looks calm and confident in his abilities, which is one of the characteristics of Doofus Jerry. Also, the second episode of the 7th season is titled as The Jerrick Trap, which obviously means that the episode is going to be about Jerry. However, at first I did not pay enough attention to its description, which says, "Gotta be mindful bruh, big brain stuff here." Doofus Jerry is regarded as one of the smartest characters in the show. As I said earlier, he was able to outsmart not only one, but the whole council of Ricks. This description could be hinting at the debut of Doofus Jerry. Also, in the season 7 announcement, Beth mentioned that Jerry might get a job in this season, and that is what happened in the Doofus Jerry story. He offered regular Jerry to replace him to become the most successful and richest person on the planet. However, there is one thing. If we look at Doofus Jerry closely, we can see that his hairstyle is different from normal Jerry, and the Jerry in the opening has the hairstyle of the normal one, which automatically debunks the theory of him being the Doofus one. However, we can assume that this Jerry is indeed the normal one who started training in order to become strong enough to fight Doofus Jerry to get his life back, which would obviously mean that Doofus Jerry's story is going on a different route compared to the one from the comics, which shouldn't be surprising, but I think the character will still remain the same. He will still be ruthless, sadistic, and a smart character. Also, the thing I always liked about the Rick and Morty writers is that they always had close ties with their fan base. They always listened to them, and due to that, I don't think it will be far-fetched to assume that they might want to implement the most popular character from the comics in the show. It would be better for the show if such a character appeared in the series, since it'll only increase the hype and popularity of the show. However, in the end, this is just a theory and nothing more. But as you can see, there are a lot of interesting hints that we shouldn't ignore. If you are as hyped as me for the new Rick and Morty season, I would recommend you check out my other videos to satisfy your Rick and Morty starvation. Anyway, I guess this is all for today. What do you think? Will Doofus Jerry appear in the series? How strong is this new Jerry gonna be? Let me know in the comments. Like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. Lonnie Brooks out. Bye.